On the phone, go in the lobby, or outside. We're trying various ways, as you have seen over the past few days, to try and expedite how you get your food at lunchtime, when I know it is a very tight window for the volume of people we are serving. Please move along as well as you can in the servery, and we will keep trying new ideas until we return to sit-down meals sometime later in the fall. As you know, we will have an extended weekend starting 2 weeks from yesterday, a chance for you to get some more sleep and gear up for the second part of the fall term. I know some seniors are taking the SAT on Saturday and that our sophomore class will have a rafting trip on Sunday. October 7th through 9th will bring many families to campus for teacher meetings and games, and those will be a fun few days for our community. You are part of a very special time at Suffield. You are all key assets in our collective success. Keep working hard and enjoy this wonderful opportunity that many of us could not have last fall. Cherish being here together and rely on each other for help and goodwill. Let me now turn to Connor, and after Eli speaks, you will be excused. Connor.
Hi. For those who don't know me, my name is Connor Smith, and I'm a four-year student from Greenwich, Connecticut. During my time at Suffield, I've been to 3 years of chapel speeches, and everyone always starts their speech off by saying how hard it was to find a topic. For anyone that has spent any time in the classroom with me, you can attest that I always have something to say. So finding a topic was not the difficult part. The difficult part for me was figuring out what I could cram into such a short speech. So I decided to talk about a few things. First, I want to thank my parents. Thank you for the long nights and the early mornings. Thank you for being my loudest cheerleaders and for being there at my lowest moments. Thank you for all the sacrifices you have made for me to be here today. I'm truly lucky to be able to call you Mom and Dad. I know I don't say it loud enough, and when I do, it's not nearly enough, but thank you. I love you. Second, I would like to talk about the reason I'm at Suffield Academy. I came back for a revisit day, and my guide was Lander Dalton. Lander took me to my first class of the day, which was freshman physics with Mr. Crosman. I distinctly remember Mr. Crosman wearing a tie with his own face on it, as I'm sure many of you have seen. But that's beside the point. Lander left me at the door, telling me he had to go to his English class, but that he would be back at the end of the period to come pick me up. The period ended, and Lander was nowhere in sight. I sat on the wooden benches in the Holcomb hallway, waiting for the only person I somewhat knew to come and rescue me. The minutes passed, and I became wary he would not be back to get me. But as I sat there, I started to notice something. Every student that passed me, whether they were alone or in a group of friends, asked me if I needed help. They asked me not because a teacher was around or because they had to, but because they genuinely cared. I was not a student at Suffield Academy at the time, but they treated me like I had been part of the community for years. That very moment, I knew I belonged here. I believe that's what the Suffield community is. It's a group of people that look out for each other. Not because we have to, or because we're told to, or because the teacher's watching, but because we genuinely care about one another. Lastly, I'd like to give some advice to the freshman class. Dive headfirst into everything this school has to offer. If you can't sing or dance, but you always wanted to be on stage, I can assure you that Mr. Dugan can find a place for you in one of our school plays. That's just one example of the hundreds of things you should try here during your time. Do everything. Sign up for that club you were too nervous to join at the activities fair. Join that sports team you told yourself you'd never make. Bleed black and orange. The biggest mistake a student at Suffield can make is not giving this place 110% of yourself. If you don't, who knows? You might miss that opportunity to scream your head off at a school dance or to truly get rowdy at Tiger Dance. I know it sounds corny, but every day at Suffield is an opportunity to make long-lasting memories and friends. Thank you.
currently a fourth-year senior at Suffield. I'm very glad to stand here and present my senior speech. I really appreciate every single aspect of this community that brings me joy, friendship, and knowledge. The process of growing up can be difficult, but rewarding. I still remember the values that I was taught in school, that I should face real problems by confronting the situation briefly instead of running away from it. I am and will always be grateful for my teachers who have had a significant influence on my life. I was never an excellent student, but my teachers were always there to support me, directing me to the right path and encouraging me to go beyond myself. Right now, I would like to perform a short flute solo as a brief conclusion to my 4 years of achievement in music. The piece is called Fantastic. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy it.
my name is Gina Lee, and I'm a 4-year senior from South Korea. When I heard that I was going first, I was freaking out. I had no idea what to write about or even thought about giving a speech. So, I decided to play the flute without even realizing I didn't bring a flute from Korea. I went out searching for some ideas, and I finally settled onto one: a letter to my freshman year self. Although my years at Suffield has been a relatively smooth journey, there were some moments where I could have acted differently or thought differently. However, all the choices I made have become who I am, and I will never regret it. Dear freshman Gina, so first, I know that you're lost and have no idea what is happening with your life. It's your first time at a boarding school and away from your parents. But don't get too happy, it's not that great. Prepare for homesickness, Korean food, and even those annoying siblings. You'll miss it. When you're feeling down, send your brothers a text. Even though they will reply with a single emoji, this will be enough to make your day. Call your parents. Keep in mind that they are always there for you and will support you no matter what. And most importantly, go have some fun. It's only your first year of high school. Have fun, enjoy your life. You'll miss every second of just sitting outside and enjoying the little conversation you have with your friends. There will be times when you're stuck in the house for quite a while. Nothing will get worse than this. Next, stop online shopping. Stop going onto websites searching for clothes. You already have enough. This maximalism will hunt you and make your room flooded with unnecessary stuff. You will regret every time after breaks, unpacking tons of boxes forever. Stop experimenting different styles and end up not liking it. You will always regret buying no matter what. Finally, appreciate everything around you. Don't take things for granted, even though you will get what it means. Even those moments of waking up late and rushing to classes, making morning coffee in 30 seconds, having the best bagel ever in the snack bar, and having daily conversation with teachers and friends. You won't realize how meaningful this was until a year or two later. All of a sudden, you'll get calls from parents, hop on a plane alone, and quarantine for a month and more. Wearing masks will be a daily thing. Getting tested will become a routine. You will be able to go back to school, and instead, you'll have to stare at the computer screen for 5 hours at 3 a.m. You hope this will be over soon, but by the time you think it's over, this will happen again and again. So, enjoy every moment of having a normal life. After coming back from a long but stressful break, I've come to realize that this is a life I wanted. All I wanted was a long talk with my friends after a stressful day, a great bagel during free period, and ongoing discussion in classes. Although I only have a year left, I will enjoy every second that I'm given. Thank you.
Sorry, I just had to put up the step for short people. Hi, Suffield. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Grace Cochin, and I'm a 4-year senior from Irvington, New York. I can't believe this day has come for me to give my speech. It feels like yesterday that I was the terribly homesick freshman, thinking that I would never make it to my senior year of high school. When I toured Suffield, I knew I had to come here. Little did I know that it would be the hardest transition I have ever experienced. Looking into the audience, I see all the teachers that still think of me as the homesick freshman that cried between classes and leave because she was crying. Just last week, I was talking to Mr. Morgan, and he reminded me of a certain day in my Spanish 1 class my freshman year. We were playing what he calls circle games and talking with each other in Spanish. He expressed to me last week that what happened was I went up to him and said I needed to leave because I was having a panic attack. You can laugh at that, by the way. It's funny. It's funny how much has changed since then. Freshman year, my day consisted of waking up, ignoring my roommate Clementine, going to my first class, calling my parents, and crying to them before the next class, and repeating that cycle throughout the day. I was so homesick that I couldn't handle it. All I wanted to do was go home because I was miserable. Crying all the time gets hard, and having your dorm parents, your advisor, teachers, and everyone listen to it gets hard for them as well. Suddenly, Suffield clicked in January of my freshman year. I did not want to come back after winter break, but I did. Things started to feel right, and my daily life changed dramatically. The crying between classes turned into talking to friends, going to class, and chatting with the teacher and my peers. I was finally enjoying Suffield. I looked forward to sports each day, seeing my friends all the time, and I loved getting to talk to everyone. As you can see, my daily life as a freshman was far from what I expected it would be. Looking back on it, I learned a tremendous amount, and a lot has changed. Today, standing here as a senior, I can say that I am the happiest I have ever been. My daily routine is happier too. It goes as follows. Wake up, go to breakfast with my friends. One of those is Clementine, by the way. Go to class with a smile on my face, engage with the material in my classes, have discussions with my peers, and stop on the way to my classes to see some of my favorite people, and you know who you are. I no longer count down the days until I go home next, or count down the days until summer. I still look forward to those times, but not in the same way as before. I cherish every moment that I have at Suffield because I have learned time flies. 3 years ago, when I was deathly homesick, I remember thinking that I would never get to the time where I would stand up in front of the whole Suffield community and give my senior speech. So many seniors give advice to underclassmen in their speech, but I never believed anything any of them said. I thought that time went too slowly, so there was no way my 4 years at Suffield would go fast, but how I was wrong. Whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or PG, can you raise your hand if you've ever felt like time was never going to speed up? Everyone should be raising their hand. If you have your hand raised, which everyone should, rethink that. Time flies. It sounds cliche, but never rush time at Suffield because I guarantee you will regret it. Take advantage of all the opportunities Suffield has to offer and enjoy your time at this amazing place. Mom and Dad, thank you for never giving up on me here. When I called you crying because I wanted to go home, thank you for never giving in. I honestly cannot express in words how grateful I am for the two of you giving me the opportunity at a place like Suffield and for you making me push through. I love you both more than anything. And to all my teachers, mentors, and my advisor, Ms. Salvatelli, thank you. If you are one of these people, you know who you are and all you have done for me. None of you have ever turned me away when I ask for help, and I can never thank you enough for that. Thank you.
And I'm a 4-year senior from Killingworth, Connecticut. If I told you that I would be in the place that I am today at the start of freshman year, I would have laughed, because I wouldn't have believed it. I have always been a shy kid that never really tried to push out of my comfort zone socially. I hid in my dorm for the first 2 months of freshman year, never went to the orientation dance, and never really left my room at all. I was too scared and nervous to get out and socialize. It wasn't until one night 2 boys from downstairs, Eric and Jed, asked to play me in a game of 2K that I finally left my room. That one night of 2K quickly turned into 50 more. I had left my room for once and finally started making friends. Now, to this day, they are 2 of my best friends. Suffield has helped me branch out so much over these past few years, and I am so grateful for all of the friends that I have made. And I can't imagine my life without the friends that I've made here. So I'd like to take this moment to shout a few of them out. Cooper, my roommate, the babysitter, the worst hugger I've ever seen, the man who can't last 2 weeks without an injury, the man who never invites anyone to his house, and the man who can never hear when I'm talking to him because of his tiny ears. Jed, the donut king himself, the laziest man I know, the craziest mobster I've ever met, and the man who religiously runs cross-country, yet has added a crisp 7 minutes to his 5-day time. Eric, my I-95 Sanford traffic buddy, the man who can never beat me in 2K with even teams, and that's true. The man whose guest room is my second home, and the man who once lost to me in a 1v1. Ben, my jazz band brother, the man who exclusively listens to Morgan Wallen, the man who stayed after school maybe once during the entirety of freshman and sophomore year, and the man who once dressed up in a chicken cordon bleu costume for the Halloween dance freshman year. Lauren, my wing woman for life, the girl who asks me every night for embarrassing pictures to make TikToks, the girl who is incapable of buying or picking up anything for herself, and the girl who wanted to go to insomnia cookies at 1 a.m., because we all know how that ended. Also, thanks for sending my mom that fruit basket. She loved it. And Jack. Oh, Jack. Where do I begin? I came to the realization that there's just too much to fit into one chapel speech, let alone all of them combined, so I will spare you this time. As the years have progressed, I've come to learn just how much I appreciate Suffield. It's a line that you will hear in nearly every chapel speech up here, but it's true, and I never fully understood it until now in my final year here. All of the late-night batting competitions, weekend mall runs, and afternoon pickup football games on the turf. I never realized just how much of an impact going to boarding school could have on my life, forcing me out of my shell and socializing and making new friends. If I had advice for anyone at Suffield, it is to get out as much as you can, meet as many people as you can, and participate as much as possible, because it'll be senior spring before you know it. Thank you.
After months of feeling this way, I was later diagnosed with depression and anxiety, which is a hard thing to wrap your head around as a little kid. I was forced to grow up much faster than I had wanted, having to not only deal with loss and family issues, but also dealing with the mental aftermath. I was terrified to ask for help, which I know is a common feeling for those dealing with anxiety, like I do. Constant anxiety is a feeling that is incredibly hard to manage. This was a feeling of stress and guilt that I was unable to shake, no matter what I did. This diagnosis felt like another stressor in my life, another thing I had to worry about. On the other hand, it was comforting. I now had an explanation for why I felt like I had a constant headache. I was ashamed, hiding when I went to my old school's counseling office, afraid to talk to anyone. Still to this day, I struggle telling my closest friends about my anxiety. My mother had noticed something was wrong. Her once bubbly, loud, and genuinely happy girl didn't laugh anymore or leave her room. My attitude had changed. Her simple questions about my day turned into hour or even day-long fights. My parents, in all their attempts, could not shake the awful stress and panic I had. If I had a time machine, I would go back and give myself a hug. I would tell myself that it was going to be okay. You would not forget, but be at peace with the loss you've experienced, and this feeling will not last forever. Anxiety and depression, at least to me, wasn't a minor inconvenience in my life, more of an all-consuming feeling. A weight on my shoulders that I couldn't move. I still struggle with anxiety to this day, constantly having to check up on myself, meet with therapists, and make sure I'm putting my mental health first. Talking about mental health should not be a taboo subject, not something we look at as alien, weird, or weak, but something we should all discuss more frequently. I was nervous to talk to my whole school about my anxiety, but I realized this is an important aspect in order to change the conversation and stigma around mental health. It's important important that we all look out for each other and check up on your friends. Many people who suffer from depression and anxiety don't have any apparent symptoms. About 20% or more of teens before the age of 18 will experience some form of depression or anxiety. Although my struggle was induced by grief, which is a very common cause, even after I've come to terms with what happened, I still wrestle, and that's okay. The truth is, more people care than you even know. Suffield has been a great support system for me. The Counseling Center is a great tool I encourage everyone to use. Even if you're feeling fine, it's always good to have a safe space to talk about life. I wish I had known, all that time ago, that feeling better is possible. A common symptom of depression and anxiety is hopelessness, thinking that this feeling is permanent, but I promise you it is not. Mental self-care is easy to implement in your life, whether it's as small as getting outside. Sometimes my roommate and I, Steph, do when we're feeling down. We go on a walk outside, which can change both of our days around. Prioritize your sleep. I know it's hard to do at school because of all the work we have, but teachers are truly understanding. They want to help. A good night's sleep is a great reset before the next day. Meditate. Even if it's for a couple minutes a day, a short meditation can help you focus on getting out of your head and slowing your breathing. Lastly, please be kind to yourself. I cannot stress this enough. As hard as it might be, you truly are the only person you will know your entire life. Speak to yourself kindly. Give yourself time and patience. It's okay to need help. It's okay to not feel great all the time. It is normal, but that does not mean you should suffer alone. When you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to put your oxygen mask on first. Thank you to my advisor, to my parents, and everyone else who's helped me. Thank you for listening, and please take care of yourself.
Hi, I'm Kerry, a four-year senior from Suffield. 8 years ago, when my oldest sister Bridget chose Suffield Academy, I never thought the rest of my siblings would follow. My sisters Bridget and Claudia would always describe this amazing place as home. So when I chose a school, I knew I had to experience Suffield for myself. After 4 years here, I can say my sisters Bridget and Claudia were right. Suffield Academy is home. But it's not because of the amazing campus or the great athletics, but it's because of the people and the friends I have made here. The friends have become more like family, and some of the goodbyes at the end of the year will leave me in tears for days. But I know my friendships will last long after high school. So to all the freshmen, and especially my brother, the best advice I could give you is take every opportunity Suffield gives you. Go to every football game, every dance, and every class outing. Make memories with people that you've never talked to before. I know my friends are of the widest variety, and the best bonds you make will come in so many different forms and different ways. It could be your childhood best friend who you fought with freshman year, but I built a bond stronger than ever. Or it could be the scrawny, blonde-haired boy who wore sparkling gold pants in the musical sophomore year. Or it could be the girl on your softball team who stole your jersey number and copied your name. Go Yankees. I've met these people in all different ways in every different year of my high school career. It's never too late to meet and make new friends at Suffield Academy and build amazing bonds. If I never talked to any of these people, my Suffield Academy experience would be completely different. These people are the reason I call Suffield home and a place I love. Now more than ever, my Suffield Academy family is complete, because my brother is here as a freshman. I know I'm probably embarrassing him right now, but I decided I would speak about Jack today. Jack, you're my favorite person in the world. Growing up, Jack was always my best friend. There are so many times that he would give up his candy, toys, etc. for me, and often when my sarcasm and talk back would get me in trouble, Jack was the first person to go to my dad and ask me to be let out of trouble and join the family movie night. He has always had my back, and that's continued as we've grown up. He's been there every time I needed someone, and he's always been there to fight with my sisters with me. Jack is not only helpful to me, but he's the kindest person I know, and he shows it to everyone every day. Jack has always looked out for anyone he's ever met, even at the expense of his own happiness. He's given up birthday gifts. He's donated kids toys that they needed them. He has raised more money than any kid has ever done before at our church for UNICEF. He's given up time and time again, hang out with his friends to come support me at my soccer games. He's my biggest supporter, my biggest fan, and one of my best friends. He is someone I aspire to be like. He constantly reminds me that there's worse things in life, and he shows me that there's light at the end of the tunnel. He's always put things into perspective for me. Every weekend you find him at church, and oftentimes reminding me to go with him. He's holding me accountable for my mistakes, but never judges me. He wants me to be the best version of myself. The man he's growing up to be, I couldn't be prouder of. I know this is our last year together, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was given one more year to spend with you. I'm grateful that we go to the same school and are even in the same class together. I'm grateful that we fly to school each morning, laughing because we are often late. I'm grateful that when I see you in the hallways and yell your name, you pretend not to hear me. I'm grateful for the amazing memories you've given me. When I leave for college, I'll miss you more than you ever know. I'll miss our hour-long car rides where we blast throwback music, or the car rides where I cry and you sit there never judging me. I'll miss our 11 o'clock drives where we sit there and say nothing. I'm not worried though, because I know no matter what, your characters and morals will stand through, and you'll always be and stand up for what you believe in. I'm so proud of you, Jack. You're my best friend. I love you. I'll always protect you. Thank you for coming to Suffield Academy and making my Suffield life complete. And thank you, Suffield Academy, for giving me one more year with my best friends and my family. Thank you.
A little hard of sight. That's all me. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eli Weiner. Yes, Weiner. And I am a four-year senior from Campbell Hall, New York. Going to boarding school can be tough for someone who isn't used to being away from home. I personally cannot have been more excited to move out. As the youngest of three, my parents started to get a little annoying as I was the only one home. The new environment only adds to the fact you were starting high school, which is absolutely ludicrous. Sadly, no matter how many John Hughes movies you watch, or how many stories an older sibling told, nothing will prep you for what I think is the biggest slap in the face boarding school can give you: a roommate. I have had 5 roommates over the years, and each has brought, to put it kindly, a unique piece of life to Suffield. I thought I would take my time today to give you my story and how my roommates influenced it over the years. Freshman year was different than I expected. I walked into school knowing the seniors because to them I was Max's brother, or Little Weiner as some called me. I walked into my room on the first day to find Nate Shane there. Nowadays, me and Nate are good friends, but back then we were not as close. We really didn't talk to each other. The only time we talked were for trivial things, like, hey Eli, your laundry's all over the floor, or hey Nate, why are you doing crunches at 11 at night? But what he did do is help me realize that you may not be best friends now, but that is just an opportunity to branch out and become your own human. After becoming my own man out of the shadow of my brother, I was ready to take sophomore year head on. My roommate, Xander Desnos, and I were friends from the year before, so we sort of knew each other. What I didn't know was my room would become a hangout spot for half the school. Somehow, I didn't mind this very much. That was until I found Jonah Ball sleeping in my bed fully clothed for, and I quote, because I had a weighted blanket. This year helped me relax a little in terms of wanting to be out of the room, but also instilled in me the following wisdom. If you have a weighted blanket, please do not tell Jonah. Junior year was a mess. After making it through the pandemic, I was ready for yet another year at school, this time as a proctor. My roommate, Ryan Jacobson, and I were good pals, and I thought we would teach the boys of Hornick what it meant to be a man. Oh my God, was I in for a ride. The first time I left school that year was during the cohort period. Great choice. The second time I left was just before the COVID wave. Thanks, Ryan. Because I was close contact. Also, a great choice. But then came winter term. I decided not to come back. Very bad choice. And my grades agreed. To this day, my parents and Mr. Dugan still say that it was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. And that's a lot coming from someone who by choice, has a stereotypical 80s cop mustache. But then, spring came. Ryan spiked our only box fan in a fit of rage, and I decided to round out the year by leaving school, a week before it ended. I was glad at the time, but I would soon realize that that decision would be, you guessed it, a bad one. But through the ups and downs of the year, I think that I learned the important lesson of staying when times got rough. And now, senior year. After 3 years of thinking, wow, having a roommate is so weird, I decided that I wanted 2 of them. William, swimmer boy Kanan, and Theodore, water polo boy Bass, let me join their duo this year for some odd and frankly unknown reason. While the year has barely begun, I can already tell that it is going to be a doozy. Whether it's Will's constant shaking of a blender bottle for his protein shakes, or Theo slamming his desk when he gets killed in CSGO, I enjoy every aspect of it. While I would gladly trade my top bunk for a spot in the room above me, known only as the Lion's Den, I don't think I would enjoy rooming with anyone as much as I enjoy rooming with these douche monks. Well, what is it you learned this year, you might be asking? Other than how much I love IKEA furniture, I think I could sum it up nicely with 5 words. 1 for each roommate. I really love Suffield Academy. Thank you very much. I'm psyched out there.